Good afternoon. Welcome. My name is Andre Mikika. I'm the country manager for One Spatial, and I'd like to welcome everybody to our webinar going through a quick overview of the recent Smarter Data, Smarter World hybrid conference that was held in the UK on the 10th and 11th of November. Everybody should be aware of that there was a saying that was going around a few years ago saying that data is the new oil. And with data, we say that data is the solution to many of the world's problems, but there is a real danger that the solution could become part of the problem and increase it massively. So as we've said, the expression data is the new oil, and lately there has been a new one where they're saying that data is the new gold. Comments like this can attract the wrong kind of investor interest. Just like in the gold rush of the 1850s in Australia, we are in danger of creating a data rush in 2020. As companies scramble to acquire and hoard their data like the prospectors of old. The vast majority of the world's gold supply is not in circulation or even part of the listed bullion reserves of individual countries. It's being stashed away in expensive vaults with hopes that even bigger fortunes can be created at some time in the future. This is what is starting to happen with data. As data has become recognized as the viable asset, people are starting to hoard it, hoping that one day they will unlock its value and it will be worth more. As a result, 90% of data is never looked at after it has been captured for the first time. And of that, only 5% of the data is actually used for creating insights and making decisions. The implications for sustainability are serious. Therefore, surely the important thing is that we treat the assets with respect and handle it in a responsible way. This means not capturing loads more data when we already have the data in so many places. Instead, the answer is to come together to collaborate as an industry. So data, is it the solution or is it the problem? One of the things that we keep talking about is that we do not like bad data. And bad data has got a cost. The article back in 2016 from Thomas Remen, where he cited the IDC's research in the big data industry, stating that the big data industry was worth around about 136 billion per year. And IBM estimated that the yearly cost of bad data was worth around about 3.1 trillion. So there was a higher cost to bad data than there was actual revenues. And in recent times, Autodesk appointed a organization, FMI Corporation, to do research, a new study called Harnessing the Data Advantage in Construction, which surveyed over 3,900 professionals across the globe in the construction industry in practice in 2020. In the study, Autodesk and FMI established that bad data and its inaccurate, incomplete, inaccessible, inconsistent, and untimely manner can be used to derive actionable insights that cost global construction industry about 1.85 trillion in 2020. So we can see that bad data has got a cost. In addition to that, we have the situation that data that is old, or we need to start stopping capturing unnecessary data, We need to stop storing old data, and we need to stop keeping worn-out data where we should be uplifting it to the needs of the current world or the current environment. We need to collaborate as an industry, and for that end, we make the assertion that we believe that from One Spatial's point of view, that we need to be looking at the collaboration revolution, where we provide the ability to share data, reuse data, and upcycle the data that we have. We've unlocked data ecosystems. We have covered 2 pillars of sustainability and collaboration, but to help us to see how we can unlock data ecosystems, what I'd like to do is to run our attention to how innovation, in particular One Spatial's innovations, can help. We at One Spatial are very proud of our innovations. In fact, it's part of our DNA. We love it. And it is what our industry knows us for. So much so that the Smarter Data, Smarter World we have run over the last 5 years have resulted in our customers being the main focus. And the recent Smarter Data, Smarter World was no different, where we had a number of presenters present on how they are working with One Spatial to achieve the 3 pillars. I'd like to now take the opportunity to run a quick video showing some of our customers and in their own words tell us some of the things and innovations that they are working on. I'll hand it over to the video.
Ordnance Survey has worked with One Spatial for over 30 years. Their software is embedded within our core large-scale mapping flowline. One Spatial is now involved in delivering the LPS integration partner contract as we seek to integrate internal legacy systems as they are replaced.
The only way that we're going to be able to achieve our goals is through automated, rules-based compliance, and the One Spatial tools are just an amazing asset.
We had a number of data challenges we were wanting to overcome, and this was the integration of data and other tools in validating our processes. This was causing delays for us by holding up jobs, and then further down the line, this was having downstream impacts for our organisation. So One Spatial are helping us by discussing all the defects that we found within the system at the time, looking what was needed to be prioritised. They've also worked very closely with our other suppliers who also rely on the system.
We cannot dictate down to our 700 local governments. We have to entice them to play in the sandbox with us. The use of the One Spatial tools not only is going to make their data better, but it's also going to bring them to a common playing field.
We use their One Integrate tool, which has enabled us to submit clean and accurate data into our database, which is key. And it has also enabled us to look at any errors. These are reported directly to the user, and we're finding that these are fixable.
Benefits of the solution that we're working on with One Spatial on the Power of Z is better knowledge for both our planners and our field workers on the depth of our water mains, and this can help us avoid utility strikes. It can help us find the pipes first time when we go to dig for them, and it means providing better service to our customers if we can locate our assets safely and quickly first time.
I think of a long-time partner with a deep knowledge of Ordnance Survey, providing the technology and expertise to drive our vision of joined-up land and property services, and indeed government across Northern Ireland.
Collaborative and partnership. We've been working really closely with them on both the transfer drains and sewers and the Power of Z projects. They have anticipated our needs, they've listened really carefully to us, and that has allowed us to deliver a successful solution.
I would absolutely recommend One Spatial, not just because of the functionality that they're providing us in terms of scalability and customization, but also because of the culture of the organization. The people that become part of your team are great to work with. They are curious problem solvers. They have great senses of humor, and those are our favorite sorts of people to work with.
Thank you. I'd like to take this opportunity to mention the fact that we do pride ourselves on being a trusted advisor to our customers. But it always gives us such a sense of excitement when we hear that we have been achieving our, their goals using our software and solutions. In particular, I'd like to thank Natalie for mentioning that OneSpatial are fun to work with and have great senses of humour. For those of you that have been on any of our webinars in the past where Sam McDonald has given away his dad jokes, I'm quite sure you would agree that we have a sense of humour. This is something we pride ourselves on and strive to make collaboration with OneSpatial not only productive but fun. So massive thanks to everyone who you have just seen taking the time to share with us their thoughts. At OneSpatial, we love working with our customers. We enjoy building relationships, meeting together, understanding your requirements and industry drivers, and delivering results. We love to listen, and we do much more than just listen. We also like to take all of the insights and predict what's coming. Yes, of course, we build innovations and products for the industry as they are needed, but we also develop and build today what we know the industry will need for the future. Our teams love this and thrive on the challenge of predicting and building innovative solutions. Last year, we were talking about the One Data Gateway at the Smarter Data, Smarter World, and its future would be and how it would open up. This was one of the predictions that we delivered on. The markets have proven that this was the product that would be needed for sharing data in a controlled and a controlled environment where users could apply OneIntegrate results to validate, process, and analyze data, all in a simple and easy to use way. As we've mentioned, over the past 12 months, we've developed One Data Gateway with OneIntegrate to take it to the heart of major projects around the world, helping them to deliver safer and more sustainable world. At Smarter Data, Smarter World recordings, you will hear more and more about the various projects that our customers have been doing and the products that have been used. Just to highlight, we've had a number of projects being done in the US with the state of Georgia, Minnesota, and Arizona for their 911 projects, and with Google for their work, for their estate services, where they take CAD and asset data and validate it, with the Michigan County or Michigan State, where they're working with One Data Gateway for government governance and data sharing to ensure that business decisions are done correctly, where they're bringing in over 300 different cities and counties into 30 different layers. HM Land Registry is using One Data Gateway to create a single digital register taking data from over 300 different authorities. And we also have a number of other organisations that are using the products, and we'll go through them in a bit more detail later. Here in Australia, in particular, we've been working on the GDV Hub, where we're using One Data Gateway and OneIntegrate to create a web-based solution to provide certainty for data integration and data governance in Australia. We are very strong on developing products that are ethical, and we do believe that we need to provide data that do not only share, but it is also easy to handle and store in an ethical way. This is one of the reasons why we built One Data Gateway, so that our customers were able to control their data and work with it, being able to share it, handle it, and store it in an ethical way quite quickly and easily. We also like to talk about the upcycle, which we mentioned earlier. In addition to being able to manage and store the data safely using One Data Gateway, we also like to allow people to upcycle their data, allowing you to harness the power and sharing, reducing data storage, allowing you to save money and time, increasing the value and content of data, combining it with other data sources, and allowing you to reduce the need to capture data that may already exist. This all works towards the sustainable goals of the UN sustainability, and One Spatial are firmly committed to this, and also to saving our customers time, money, and effort on all levels. The power of collaboration. One Spatial, we do love collaborating with our customers, and we also believe in the power of collaboration with partners. And to that extent, we've been working strongly with the Esri Inc. in the US, and over the past year have developed and strengthened our relationship with them, and particularly with other organisations in government, utilities, transport, natural resources, and AEC. We have a number of presentations in this year from the Smarter Data, Smarter World from a number of customers or number of partners, and they will be available on our website. This year we have earned a number of Esri's awards. In particular, we earned the Esri Release Ready and Utility Network Specialty Badge, and were presented with this prestigious award at the Global 2021 Esri Partner Conference. We've also been shortlisted, we were shortlisted and for the top 3 at the Digital Leaders 100 Geospatial Innovations Yearly Award recently, where we partnered with Esri UK for the utility network migration for Northern Gas Network. We did not win it, but we were proud to be one of the top 3, and we do congratulate HM Land Registry for their local land charges registry. And as we can see, there will be a number of other talks that will come later. We are seeing that the industry is increasing its importance of working together in collaboration, bringing our skills and specialties together for the benefit of driving forward for the global agendas we are talked about earlier. Whether it's related to developing goals by the United Nations or nationwide data sharing initiatives from government or legislatures, the need for effective ecosystems to support our industry is clear. And to that end, we have been working on developing the One Spatial platform, which allows us to use our One Data Gateway, One Integrate to allow for information to be automatically validated, corrected, and worked with. We collaborate with our customers around the country and utilize our tools to provide the facility to be able to work seamlessly with various data silos and data sets using the One Spatial platform, allowing us to have the collaboration revolution that we talk about. Now, the collaboration revolution can't happen unless we build together, unless we nurture it, unless we believe in it, and unless we drive it all together. Having predicted the importance of this collaboration, we like to believe that we're leading the revolution, and this has been attested to over the last 12 months with a number of the major contracts that we have undertaken in partnership with a number of people or number of organisations. Recently, the National Underground Asset Register that was awarded to the joint venture between One Spatial, Atkins and Ordnance Surveys, where we are going to be working together to try and reduce the $2.9 billion costs of accidental strikes that occur in the UK, supporting the government in their efforts of building a better and greener environment. Energy Networks Association, where we're working with Energy Networks Association for data quality that will underpin the net zero drive for the UK electricity and gas net operators. Utility network model, where One Spatial are working with Esri UK for the Northern Gas Network to modernise their data to create a digital twin and start the transition to the net zero community. And Land and Property Services, where we're working with version 1, supporting them in major government digital transformation project. We've worked towards using our products and using them in the geospatial data for everyday lives to manage and control our daily activities. What we need to do now is utilize our valuable data assets to help us predict future trends and scenarios. This will help us to meet the challenges we have and also plan and mitigate against things that will be adverse in the future, avoiding that gold rush scenario that we were talking about earlier. So we need to be able to manage and control the data, creating it as that valuable asset that we want to have, providing the ability to prepare, plan, and predict information to produce our modern day tools that we talk about with digital twins and AI. So to the uninitiated, the digital twin is the bridge between the digital world and the physical world. It provides a seamless and continuous update of digital replication of our physical world. One Spatial have been helping in helping organisations across the globe to evolve their geospatial data infrastructure to create that smarter data for information in the digital twins. The information must be good for it to be of any value in this digital twin environment. So in order for data to be used, we need to follow some good disciplines. It also needs to be used, it needs to be understood subtle and complex patterns that may not be obvious to users. This is where One Spatial bridges the gap between data and digital twins with our artificial intelligence. With machine learning approaches, the patterns are automatically detected from the data, but this is highly dependent on the quality and consistency of the data. If a system is learning from examples, then these examples had better be right, they better be clean, they better be unbiased. This is the first aspect where our rules-based engine approach, complete with the machine learning, comes into play. Rules can be used to validate and clean the example or the data to ensure that it's consistent, complete, and correct enough for the learning aspect to come into play. The second aspect is that machine learning is driven by numbers from things like sensors, data which is measured, voltage, flow rates, vibrations, and so on. The benefits that rules brings to machine learning means that it is now becoming possible to use spatial data characteristics in machine learning, but with more transparency, oversight through the explicit pre-processing rules. The repeatability and traceability of rules makes it a way that we can collaborate and ensure data is fit for purpose. take this opportunity to quickly run and show you an innovation that we have developed for one. So unlocking the value of our customers' data. And whilst everything we do has data at its heart, it's also about packaging up targeted solutions with our customers so that they can unlock the value of their data and use it to solve their business needs and challenges. The examples that we've got that have been developed is our traffic management plan automation, TMPA, incident application, the 9/11 for emergencies in the US, highway performance management, HPMS, and our GDV hub that we've been developing here in Australia. What's next? So what we want to talk about is what is coming down the line. We're always looking for the next challenge, and we'd love to talk to you about it if you have one. We can deliver something to support you and the rest of the community. Recently, we just launched new learning management systems as a result of customer feedback and the need to be able to deliver training remotely and provide regular remote user groups and update sessions. So just to give you a run through on, I want to share with you a short video of some of our customers talking about some of the drivers and challenges they already see coming down the line that we need data-driven, innovative solutions to address.
I work for water utility Northumbrian Water, and we have a massive challenge over net zero and dealing with climate change, which is presenting all sorts of problems to us, mainly around flooding, spills from combined sewer overflows, which can cause pollution, and of course leakage as well, laying leak-free networks, finding and discovering leaks and repairing leaks as quickly as possible.
A lot of US state geospatial information offices work to unlock data and really bring it to the table for decision making. And part of that is respecting data, treating it with the respect it deserves and treating it like the valuable asset that it is.
As the official mapping agency of Northern Ireland, our biggest challenges are meeting customer requirements, providing data that is fit for purpose, and anticipating future demands such as moving from a 2D environment to 3D. Data currency is always key in mapping, finding better and more efficient ways of collecting our mapping data and reducing latency and delivering it to the customer.
If we want to be able to define compliance and regulation, we need good quality data as our baseline data set.
We need to be able to share data easier across organizations. When data is shared, we need the ability to easily join data sets together. From something as simple as being able to match two different address data sets, we anticipate that our fusion identifiers should help facilitate this.
Further collaboration with different organisations outside of our industry will be key. And as part of that data sharing, data quality will be key for us to make sure that we're making well-informed decisions based on that data.
What we see now is an awakening of sorts in our circles of collaboration. You know, in COVID, we had so much data flying around, and we needed each other across agencies to answer the questions that the public and those controlling assets were asking. And now people are thinking, oh, we could do our work so much better and faster and easier if we could just make the tech support that collaboration. So everyone's looking for platforms and tools and processes like OneSpatial that allow us to share and translate data to support more of these efforts.
We do hope that data in general really will be used to support all of the UN goals like good health and gender equality and the reduction of poverty and water quality and clean energy. But as with most things, those decisions need to be data-based. And if they are not, it'll be a very challenging uphill battle.
Geospatial data and the technologies that support the building of that data allow governments and entities to save money, to save lives and the environment, with the awareness of a changing world around us and the interdependencies within that world. Only with that awareness can we hope to address the issues that we face today. You just can't address what you can't see.
So data in the future is going to be key for our business. This will involve integrating large data sets from different organisations that will allow us to monitor the environment, how we're making changes to improve animal health and welfare, and also how we're able to reduce carbon emissions within England.
And our data, providing the quality is good and consistent, is providing us with new insights to allow us to deliver better customer service to our customers and to keep the water flowing.
Data is everything that we do. It's at the core of our job every day, all day long, and we love it. And we love bringing the power of data decision making to other governments across our state. And as tools like the OneSpatial tools come into play, it makes our job that much easier.
So over the 2 days of the Smarter Data, Smarter World, some of the customers that we have shared their exciting projects they are doing across our themes of sustainability, innovation, and collaboration. We obviously do not have the time to run all of those presentations, but they are all going to be available on the OneSpatial website. We have chosen one from Karen Alford that we will show because we believe it represents, encapsulates what OneSpatial is about. We will also be showing our CTO Seb Lesware and CPO Bob Schell, who will be coming up next to discuss the OneSpatial technologies. But I'll also encourage you to check out Bob and Seb's coverage of the new SaaS cloud platform that we will be launching in the new year. This will give us, more opportunity to deliver quick and simple solutions, applications to help you solve the challenges of tomorrow. So please go onto the on-demand videos and download the ones that are of interest, the presentations of interests, and we look forward to being able to work with you in the next game-changing innovation to make your world smarter. I'd like to now hand over to Bob and Seb.
Welcome to this session where myself, Bob Chell, and Seb Lesware will be talking to you about our technology roadmap and what we're looking at next. So what we've been doing and what's coming up. Again, you'll see, like the earlier session, there'll be a strong focus on what we've been doing in terms of collaboration and innovation. So as we look to build out and make sure things we do, we can deliver and work at pace and deliver at scale. And we'll share with you what we've been doing across the private and the public sector in our different geographies.
So the OneSpatial platform is a series of location master data management software components, and they're centered around the patented OneIntegrate rules engine that we use to validate and correct and transform data. And then One Data Gateway provides a portal to give controlled access to upload data, run these rules, and then view dashboards of the results. But we're also using these to build business-focused applications that combine our technology, rules that we create, some data to produce an overall wrapped business application. And these are all available as server components. They've got user interfaces, they've got APIs, and also mobile SDKs. The aim of these is to ensure that your data, your master data particularly, is current and complete and consistent and coordinated, but also means that you can be confident that it will remain that way as the data evolves. So it means you can master your data, and this is both software as a service, on-premise, or hybrid of both.
The roadmaps and directions we are showing here are driven by what we're seeing happening in projects we're delivering with customers, and also the wider industry. We see common themes such as portals and automation to aggregate and consolidate data becoming really important. They allow us to build up those interconnected data ecosystems driven by cloud architectures, and making sure we've got good data governance programs in place as we're doing that has become really important. Making sure we can monitor and measure the quality of the data that we're passing through these systems or systems of systems, and checking them at each opportunity to validate what we're doing is consistently adding value. And whilst we've been looking at building out all those systems and solutions for our customers, making sure we take every opportunity to reuse and upcycle the data and the investments we've previously made in, so we can maximize the value we get out of all of those.
Now, all of those themes map to key capabilities of the platforms, and most of the product roadmaps enhancements that we're going to be describing are grouped under those same themes. So they're all going towards enhancing what the products do, how and where they operate, what data they can operate on, and how they are connected.
So let's consider the work we've been doing around the portal part of those solutions we've described. And that primarily for us means our product One Data Gateway. So we've been doing a lot of work around portals. We've been looking at really focusing on how we make sure those data ecosystems can be built out. So the last set of tasks and work we were focusing on was around those statistics APIs that we talked about earlier. Making sure that we can now collaborate with our technology partners, build out further those data ecosystems. That's where we're focusing next. So focusing on real, tangible, governance-based applications that perform at scale. So we're looking to also rapidly improve the user experience that people get by taking advantage of new techniques for processing, looking at how we can make it easier for customers to use and engage with those tools and portal-based applications. So improving things around schema validation and schema transformation, making it easier to map what customers have into their solutions. And joining those up into real, clear, simple and effective workflows is also one of the key drivers behind what we're looking at with the One Data Gateway product to improve what we have from a portal perspective.
And many things are also being added to the rules engine. Now, this is just a very small subset of them. As we mentioned earlier, the rules engine has been made 3D capable earlier this year, and a new release imminently will add or improve the access to all sorts of new data sources. So things like GeoPackage or IBM Tririga or Microsoft Access, MySQL. And also the ability for the scalability of the product to be automatically elastic. API keys are being added to make it easier to call the API from another application, but also a focus on schema. So tools focused on validating schema, so that is the structure of the data, but also more powerful transformation of schemas, so transforming the structure of the data. We've also started a user interface refresh, which will make it even easier to create these automated processes, and it will also make it easier for us to maintain them.
With our mobile technology, we've been focused for quite some time on those blueprinted applications, so that the governance mobile related products that people want to use and deploy in the field. What we've been focusing on actually is making them even easier to build and configure, despite the fact that they're blueprinted apps. We've then got a lot of work that we'll continue to do around non-functional requirements, so looking at platform support, API integrations, but also functional requirements around improving the configurability of either forms within the mobile applications, the map user interfaces. Whether that's our Windows-based OneEdit application where we might want to be improving the speed and the configurability of it, or whether it's the Android-based applications that we build out from our LMAP SDK. All that focus on user experience, making it easier and deploying faster is going to be key over the next 12 months.
And there are some core shared capabilities that we're using across the platform. So as well as the elastic scalability, we're looking at containerization and automated deployments, just to make it easier to deploy things in a continuous integration mode. For the cloud architectures, we're improving the monitoring and metering, so monitoring a system to make sure it's healthy and reporting when it's not, and metering, which is going to lead us to be able to have a pay-per-use model. So measuring what's happening and allowing people to potentially then have automated billing, maybe credit card charging, integration with CRM systems to help with that. And then other things like user and organization management, so that we can have federated user management systems, having lots of external systems all combined, and use that to control the users who have access to the system.
So as we talked about in an earlier session, it should be becoming clear how the developments we've been making in those core products, those customer enabling products with the portal application around One Data Gateway, the rules engine with One Integrate, has been allowing us to build out hubs and applications that come together to form those hubs. So whether they're the customer specific hubs, industries, technology domains, communities that we build out, or really targeted solutions, they're all new developments that we've been doing and will continue to develop and follow that same pattern and roadmap and strategy over the next 12 months and beyond.
Two examples of new capabilities or products or applications. So One Integrate 3D is now 3D capable One Integrate. It's available as a license option from One Integrate 3.0 onwards. We're also using One Integrate and a custom user interface to build the traffic management plan automation application, which should be available as a beta soon.
Another area that we've been developing out, building on some of the technology from our French office, is around BIM. So the Real World 4D product that really allows you to pull together the 2D and the 3D world, but not so much from a 3D landscape perspective, but once you need to jump inside and look at things within a building, what do we do then? How do we monitor and measure and deal with all that information? One thing that we've also expanded as part of the hubs and the applications we've been building is when you start to bring all that data together and view it and analyze it in a common environment, making sure that we can certify whether that data is valid and correct and fit for purpose, fit for use. So combining the web-based applications for merging all that data together and manage it in one place within Real World 4D, we've been able to expand out that data offering and provide some of those validation and fix up and improvement applications, and that's what we're seeing in our One BIM certificator. Also, the applications and the hubs we talked about before, like I said, they will naturally evolve and have a roadmap of their own. So the work we've been doing with the police on the PDQ hub, looking at expanding out not just address validation, but maybe moving it just to the street level and providing a subtly different app through that community. The GDV hub that is primarily focused around a community having to deliver data to an ASPEC standard, or within ASPEC, there are actually multiple specifications that will continue to evolve, and we'll make sure we evolve the applications to support that as the specifications themselves evolve. Our ecology survey application as well, subject to the same sort of change. So as the programs and projects that use the application expand and evolve and improve, we have to make sure that the business rules that we built to support the applications that validate the data to the right spec also evolve, and it will have a natural roadmap and life cycle of their own.
So when we add things to product roadmaps is either because we've got immediate project needs or we're anticipating what's coming in the future by speaking to customers and hearing what people are talking about. So these are some of the things that we are hearing people discuss or trying to achieve, or even people wondering if they need to use them. So first of all, as a service, so everything's going cloud-based these days. That's not always possible. It depends on, say, the data volumes, the bandwidth, where the data needs to reside. But that's definitely an ongoing and permanent trend. And then using information that we're capturing, and against that, recording information from sensors, for example, to build up digital twins. So these large amounts of data streaming in from sensors that are registered against some of these more fixed assets that we traditionally deal with. And then people think about, well, where do I store all this sensor data? Do I need to have a big data warehouse? So things like Snowflake or Apache Spark and Databricks to help manage that amount and speed of data coming in. And then from that, people are saying, well, we need to probably apply machine learning to help to take out some valuable information and make sense of all this data that's been coming in. So these are some of the things that we're tracking and following and working out how we integrate and make use of them ourselves. So thanks very much for listening. We'll be around for the next couple of days, so please come and have a chat if you have any questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Bob. We'll quickly move on to Karen Alford from Environment Agency and Flood and Coastal Risk Manager for Environment Agency. So welcome, Karen.
Good afternoon, everyone. You're going to be listening to me for the next 10 minutes or so, and I'm going to be sharing how we are approaching automating assurance of our asset data at handover. So I'm going to start with our vision, and our data vision, as you can see there, is very much around how we can build trust around our data, whoever produces it. And I think this is really important as we move forward on our digital journey. We can't be relying on data that we can't trust. We need to have data produced right at the point of where it starts its life. And because ultimately we want to remove the mundane, we want to build and improve productivity, and we need to have a different approach to the way we've done it in the past. So over the next few slides, I'm going to take you through what we're doing and how we're doing it. So I'm going to start off with just giving you a very sort of quick glance at our sort of digital projects. And we've got a number of these. And I think the point that I really want to convey here is that many of these are they're not necessarily around technology directly. They're around the capability, understanding our data requirements, understanding how we need data to fit together, and understanding the rules that we need to be applying. And I think that's something that sometimes in this digital world is not fully understood, that this is a key component of it. So in the past, we're very much focused on that right-hand side, thinking about the reports we need, thinking about the visualization. And as we move into wanting to do more with our data, think about machine learning, artificial intelligence, etc., it's very much coming to the fore that unless you define the data, unless you are very clear about the quality parameters, unless we work out how we can collect and get that data right at source and automate, and then what I'm going to be talking to you today about the sort of transforming and it's checking data, we can never move to a place where we can really rely on data, whoever creates it. So this is an overview of the process. I'm going to take you through some of these sort of key steps. But in essence, it's about specifying information, it's about procuring information, delivery, and assurance. And just to put some context into this, it has taken us about 4 years to get to the assurance stage, because many of the other activities can stand on their own as a capability and improvement, but it's been joining them up together that has enabled us to deliver what we call AIMS DRV, which is AIMS Data Rules and Visualization. So I'm going to step you through some of those processes. Now, some of you might be familiar with the BIM Mandate, and the Environment Agency was one of the organisations that was required to meet the BIM Mandate. And I think this is a really understated tool for a client, because it provides clients with a mechanism to buy data and information. It is not a standstill document. As you can see, we do relatively regular updates. But what we've been doing, we've been using this as a way of developing and maturing our supply chain and our requirements. So we absolutely know that, you know, moving into a digital world is going to be new to everyone. But what is most important is that we as a client are driving that, and actually we're driving it in a way that we can deliver consistency. We can be understanding what data we need and how we need it, but we also work with our supply chain to ensure that we understand their limitations, we work with them to overcome their limitations, and really, sort of help them on this journey, because working for us means that they're developing the skills and capabilities that can then be applied to other client organisations. So what was really interesting on our journey is that we've always had a problem with data and data quality. And when we started exploring this, we realised that we never actually told our suppliers what data we needed, how we needed it, when we needed it. So about 2 years ago, nearly 3 years ago, we launched the Data Requirements Library. Now, it's not revolutionary in essence, but it describes the data that we need, and it is being extended as we move along. We clearly show the classification, which I think is very key in this world. So we know what we're talking about. We have a unique sort of national classification code, but that information is human readable and machine readable. And that, for me, is something that, as any client, we need to be looking at how we can make our information very readily available. I do have some links there to the library itself, and also sort of an overview video if anyone is interested. So the other challenge that we had is that we didn't have any CAD and object standards. So if you want our data, our asset data, to be formed and brought together, we need a consistent way in that it is brought together, that we can test and we can check that our standards are being met. Now, as part of this, we also were able to introduce what is called data cards, and the data cards reference back to the data requirements library using sort of machine readable APIs, so that our data requirements can be brought into the designs. Some of those can be automated, because obviously, through the design they will be auto-calculated. Others might need to be sort of manually entered at this present moment in time. But it is definitely sort of moving us into sort of standardizing and building that trust in the information. Another key component in this journey has been around the procurement of data. So we have something called the Information Delivery Plan, which is where we have classified all of our information, and at each stage, at each gateway, in each contract, we procure what we need, when we need it, and how we need it. And this, I think, this is a really essential part. Now, as the information is delivered, it's dropped into the common data environment. You can see in the sort of lower image. And within the common data environment, we have API connectivity. So as information is delivered and it's checked and assured, we can then, and it's published, which is the sort of BIM terminology for it, we can then build sort of technology that allows us to go in and check if a file is present and bring it across, which is very sort of key to what the AIMS DRV is doing. So, with all this, we recognise, we are automating, but we still need people to be involved. So at the end of detailed design, The project teams will sit down with the asset teams and confirm that the assets that they have are designing and being introduced actually are the right ones, and any perhaps challenges there around connecting to existing assets, etc., can be addressed. By having this buy-in at an earlier stage, it means that we can automate the data into our AIMS operation and maintenance system. What does it look like? So as you can see here, this is just really a run through. We are checking a number of rule sets. So if you look at the bottom, and I apologise for the some of the acronyms, we have the EIR, the Employers Information Requirements, the Information Delivery Plan, the CDE, Common Data Environment, DRL, which I have explained. We have a data services platform where we hold some of our sort of corporate data sets. AIMS PD is our sort of project delivery, program delivery IT solution, and we're also checking spatial and technical details. And I think, you know, this isn't just sort of one size fits all. We are checking a variety of things. So as I described, the information it drops into the CDE, it's picked up, and we bring it in to the rules engine. It's either a pass and it goes straight into the structured data store, ready to be introduced into our corporate systems. If not, it goes back to our suppliers to rectify. And until such times as it's passed all the tests, then we don't formally accept it. So, you know, this has been a learning process for us. So, you know, we have been capturing the data and actually building the rules and thinking about what we needed to test has been sort of a learning exercise. You know, we have involved so there's been a number of people involved, including sort of solution architects, and we've been working with One Spatial to help us build those rules and build the assurance platforms. And it has been quite, we've had to apply some quite rigorous testing as well on our side. So, you know, having test data that we've been able to work through and generate and make sure that the rules are doing the things that we expect them to be doing. So really, what are our next steps? So we have spent some time, I think it's probably been somewhere around I think it's probably around about 8 months or so that we've been working on this. So, you know, in many ways, it's been relatively sort of quick move. We have been working with some test projects that sort of testing the process and helping us to make sure that the sort of triggers that are already in place, as you can see from the previous slide, about sort of 16 different sort of rule sets that we are processes that we're following. But we will now be introducing that into real projects, but working on an early adopter. We recognise this will be quite a significant change for our supply chain. We will be helping. So we have had a task and finish group working with our supply chain partners to develop processes for automating the data from the designs that then can be pushed into the common data environment for us to pick up. We will need to continually engage with the project teams and asset teams. This is going to be something extremely different to what we've ever done before, and you know, it no doubt will take some bedding in. You know, we've done our best with the rules, but there will be a need to refine them, and we are currently working on how we can automate that into AIMS OM. Now, I think we know that we can do this because we have applied the same rules. So the data requirements rules that I described a little bit earlier, we have used that as the basis for setting up our AIMS system. You know, that's a strategy that we have across all of our systems, across the agents or in the asset management field, that we apply common standards at the point of creation. So being able to automate then becomes a much easier task. You know, we have a single ask but we can then begin to automate that data into different systems. We will be extending our rules as the business capability grows. So things like engineering, digitalising our engineering standards, for an example, that will involve new rules that need to be built. And we are now commencing building the visualization and analytics. So we want to make this utilize that. It's not just about assurance, but being able to use this as a way of being able to visualize and help people deliver better projects and deliver it in a way that we can build capability, introduce smarter things. We can think about, giving the sort of visual aspect to a project team, as well as the to prevent them needing to go and visit sites and being able to have better access and being able to scrutinize using tools that we would be expecting people to be using in this modern world. And that's it from me. Thank you very much. And it's been a pleasure presenting to you.
Thank you, Karen. And we'd like to now invite Andrew Bashfield, our sales manager.
Okay, hi everybody. I'm going to just focus on a couple of aspects today. And when we're talking about One Integrate, which is our core technology, you've probably already heard that it's about validation of data, correction and enhancement of data. And I really wanted to focus on correction and enhancement and use that through speaking about case studies. So in particular, we have the Northumbrian Water, which took over the responsibilities of another neighbouring water authority. So they had another 13,500 kilometres of water assets, but only 5% of those assets actually were stored as mapped assets in any kind of documentation because they're quite old assets. So this is what it looked like. So what this diagram represents, the light tan color is buildings and the khaki color is properties. And you can see that properties and buildings are shown on the map. And in the middle of the roads, you can see trunk sewers and water mains, but there's no connections to the properties. Now, of course, Northumbrian Water knew that all of these properties were connected because they were sending them bills. So there were meters there, but none of this was represented, which means in an asset management system, none of this was actually being added up as an asset each year. So using One Integrate, Northumbrian was able to basically create a set of rules which said that a water main needs to be connected to a property, to a house, a building, and it needs to be connected at the front of the building, and it needs to be connected to the closest part of the water main in the road. And so that process was run iteratively and resulted in this alternative, which is all of the pipe data has now been connected on and added up, which means there are now graphical and database representations of all of those assets. So that feeds straight into an asset management system. So it's just an illustration of how One Integrate is not just about validating what you've already got, it can also be about creating the gap, filling the gaps in your missing data. And of course, that works out to be a saving because without doing it that way, Northumbrian were actually planning to go out into the field and do a lot of data capture. So 87% of the original budget was saved. Now let's have another look at another kind of data enhancement, and this one's positional accuracy. So fundamentally, positional accuracy is about moving location data from one set of coordinates to another. And it's by taking the accuracy of one data set and adding it to a separate data set, which holds all the attributes. And in the industry, generally, that's known as conflation. Now, there's a couple of ways of approaching this, and we have different customers with different needs. GDA 2020 in Australia, of course, is a very big need. And the method of migrating assets to the new location in GDA 2020 is done through algorithms. But also, most states have their state cadastral and land authorities improving the state of the cadastre, and utilities tend to, and local governments, tend to have their assets aligned to the old cadastre. So in this case, we actually use a technology called shift vectors inside One Integrate to pick up the location of the original asset, pick up the location of the original cadastre and the new location of that cadastre, and work out the shift. We then apply that to the asset. So really what we're doing is comparing two data sets, matching start and end points, generating shifts, and these are vertex shifts. We post-process the vectors. We remove non-topographic shift vectors such as road center lines. And the key thing that we're doing is we're maintaining the topology. So as we're moving, we don't want to be breaking any of the network. So if it's pipes, those pipes won't be broken, the valves will be in the right place. If it's power poles, we'll ensure that all of the electricity infrastructure stays connected. So we do a verification process afterwards. This example you see on the screen is with a council, and in this case, they've got footpaths. The footpaths in the old cadastre are absolutely aligned to the cadastre. Then as we move forward and we shift the cadastre, or we actually import the new cadastre from the State Land Authority, you can see that there's gaps and slivers inside the footpaths. So by applying One Integrate, we go through this process of shift vectors to correct all of that, so it is now perfectly aligned. Emma, we have a final quick poll. Oh, let's move on. I think we're running out of time. So the last thing I wanted to cover off was the geospatial data validation hub. And this is an example of One Spatial providing software as a service. So rather than the customer having the software in-house or the customer having it on their own cloud, in this case, we're actually providing a service in conjunction with a partner. And what we're dealing with is the ability to validate data sets against the national standard. And so these are ASPEC data standards that we're validating data that's being submitted for validation. So we're providing a hub, a web location where data can be uploaded, data is evaluated, it's opened up, it's checked against the specification, any gaps are identified, reports are provided. There's management reports as well about the amount of validation that's gone through, and that's provided back to the submitter. And in this way, the submitter is able to check that the data actually meets those standards before it goes to the authority. And now I'll pass back to Andre.
Thank you, Andrew. In conclusion, we'd like to thank everybody for your attention and just going through some of the upcoming events that we will be running. Naturally enough, we are now in November, late November. It will be December, sooner than we think, and it will be the new year even faster. So for the new year, we have got a number of things going. So in February, we'll be at SSSI Summit. We'll also be at the regional conference in New South Wales. We'll be running a webinar on utilities and assets in April. We'll be attending Mapped Out in March in Wagga Wagga. FME World Tour, we will be running an FME World Tour in a state near you. So we will be visiting all major capital cities in May 2022, and we look forward to catching up with you, as well as going to Locate, and we'll be going across the Tasman to the 6th Annual Digital Transformation and Data in Government Summit. June, we will be running our normal 5 hot features of FME, which follows on from the World Tour, where we pick out the 5 top tips that we believe are the new features of high significance. And in June, we'll be going to Sydney Build, and we will be also running webinars and going to other things as well. If you need to contact us, get in contact at sales.australia@onespatial.com or call us on 1300 290 686. Thank you all and good afternoon.